Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Chapter 7, which is Sales Responsibilities and Preparation. Basically, and I'm sure you all are aware of it, but the primary responsibility of a salesperson is to conclude a sale successfully. This task is going to involve the identification of customers' needs, the presentation and demonstration, negotiating, handling any objections they might have, and then finally closing the sale on it. Secondary responsibilities for the salesperson is going to include prospecting, database and knowledge management, self-management, handling any kind of complaints, providing service, and relationship management. A big portion in the sales responsibility is prospecting. So prospecting is searching and calling upon customers who maybe have not purchased from your company before on it. That activity is different. If you are in industrial selling rather than retail selling, industrial selling, obviously it's going to be more important for you to go out and prospect for new customers. A furniture salesperson is unlikely to probably search out new customers, although they might take referrals from satisfied customers. But normally the person's going to come into the furniture store as a result of a advertising, TV or newspaper advertising that they've seen, or maybe just because it's a high volume street location. 41st Street and Louise Avenue by the mall definitely is a high volume. East side of town by Walmart and Burlington Coat Factory and Sioux Falls is a high volume area for the people that live on the east side or people coming from Iowa or different areas. Some of the sources that you can that can be used as far as for prospecting or generating leads definitely would be existing customers. I always like to share the fact of the law of 250 is that everyone knows at least 250 people, and whether they have a good or a bad experience with you, they're likely to probably tell others. If they have a good experience and they want to encourage others to do business with you, they are more likely to pass your information on and generate some leads for you. Real estate people also are very generous as far as giving out money or gift certificates, whatever, someone referring to real estate sale to them. Car salesmen will also do the same thing. But that's a great way to get a wealth of new prospects by simply asking your satisfied customers if they know of anybody that might have a need for your type of products on it. Another area too would be as far as with insurance or financial. If you get into financial, it's interesting just to try it out, but they will have you sit down and have you actually take a look at all the different people that you know, whether your connections with school, with work, with your church, if you have any sporting activities. It's interesting to just go through the exercise to see how many people it is that you actually know, along with relatives. It can add up quite quickly. Trade directories is another option. There could be a trade directory for the business that you're in. That's going to give the name and address and phone number of the companies. Taking a look at probably their names of their board members, what the size of the firm is, any turnover and number of employees, and the types of products that they manufacture or distribute. Inquiries can be a good source for prospecting, especially like in our line of business at the Vivas Medical Spa. We get quite a few inquiries, actually a lot of times like on a daily basis, inquiring about the different types of services it is that we offer on it. Inquiries can also come from any kind of direct mail, or like we talked about earlier, would be the exhibitions or trade shows possibly on it. So anyway, it's important that you try to answer those quickly and get the information to them so that you're prompt and they know that you're serious about doing business. The press and internet also are great tools for prospecting. Great way for people to research on it and be likely to come to your company, or a good way for you to also take a look at the internet and identify companies. Cold canvassing or cold calling is something that basically you're calling on potential customers in the cold without any prior contact or even an appointment. That can be rather stressful on it, and your chances are you'll probably get 10 no's at least before you get a yes. When I was in the Yellow Page industry, especially the last few years when things have really been struggling for the company, and especially with the onset of cell phones, that they would have us prospect or watch any service vans going around with their phone numbers and writing those phone numbers down and trying to call them and to get them listed into the Yellow Pages. So with Yellow Pages kind of dying out, that was a difficult sale for them. A lot of them didn't even want to list their cell phones into the phone book. But anyway, it's definitely is a way to get out there and try and reach some new clients. Some of the important things that when you are doing some cold calling is that you try to make it as non-intrusive as possible for the customer. They're not expecting your call. It's very important, and I always tried to do this too, to make contact with them when you know that they're not busy or it's not an inconvenient time. Obviously, you never go to a restaurant during their lunch hour or dinner hour when they're at their busiest on it. If it's a busy time of the year, April would not be a good time to cold call for a tax person or an accountant. Trying to call very early in the morning or very late at night always is very disrespectful. Need to be responsible that way on it. Always need to respect the privacy of the customers and respect their wish if they don't want to be bothered. Another thing as far as with calling, if there's a do not call list, you need to be cautious of that if at all possible too, so you're not adhering to their wishes. So good way to use cold calling is to use it to obtain a further appointment. Maybe you might gain some agreement to them to send some further information out to them. You try to find out as much as you can about the prospective customer and plan out effectively so that you have a good presentation for them on it. Another important aspect is the database and knowledge management for prospecting. So it can be a systematic approach to customer record keeping. Can include the name and address of the customer, what the name and position of the contact person is that you have, the nature of what their business is, the date and time that you had an interview with them, assessment of any potential, their buyer needs, problems, and buying habits, any past sales that you had with them with dates, any sorts of problems that you might have encountered, and future actions, especially if you've promised them to them for as a salesperson. Talked a little bit about self-management, that a lot of times as a salesperson, you are your own boss, and so you are responsible to organize your own call plan, maybe dividing into your specific territories, being covered day by day and what's going to be the best route, trying to make absolutely the best use of your time. So seeing a lot of salespeople that were not really good time users and did not do a good job of spending good use of their time, and therefore they chose to not be real successful either on it. Handling complaints definitely is a huge issue. Complaint handling can seem to be time consuming. You can possibly turn it around to being a sales opportunity. But if the customer is annoyed, the best thing that you can do is to handle that complaint right away. It's not going to get better if you don't return a call or if you let them sit and think about it or feud. So best way to do it is that you can handle it without getting upset with them, not trying to get mad also. That only makes things worse. Keep your cool and try to handle the complaint in an efficient manner as quickly as possible. For providing service, customers look at the salesperson now to be more of a consultant, what they can do to help solve any kind of problems or added benefits to the customer on it. So definitely need to be good as far as customer service. I always try to return calls as quickly as possible when they've called you. Like I said, handle any complaints that you possibly have on it. If you find any relationship management also is an important aspect for the customer service salesperson and the customer. You want to make certain too that you have a good relationship with your customer and things run as smooth as possible, handling any problems or questions or concerns that they might have. Also, the sales force is charged with the responsibility of implementing the sales and marketing strategies designed by their management. Any misunderstandings of the regarding strategy can have some grave implications. So it's important that the salesperson totally understands and the strategy, the sales and marketing strategy for the company, and that they adhere to what the company's wishes are for success, and it can be the difference between winning and losing. Preparation is definitely key for the salesperson. It's important that they prepare, do any sort of background preparation work before they go out to meet with the customer so that they're prepared and ready and they're not wasting the customer's time on it. They should have an idea of how much room that they have as far as negotiating for price. They should be very knowledgeable about their own products and also what's going on in the industry of the company. Definitely, like so many have talked about in the earliest chapters, that the salesperson can be the either the strong link if they are knowledgeable about a product, or they can be the weak link if they don't know. And then, like I just mentioned too, that the knowledge of the customer's products and benefits offers several advantages. It's going to allow the salesperson to offset the strengths of their own products that could be mentioned to industrial potential buyers. In industrial selling, sales engineers might work with a buying organization in order to solve a technical problem on it. Could help out that way. So your sales presentation and planning, like I said, your customers are busy. They're not going to want to waste a lot of time. So it's important that the salesperson does presentation with their planning on their presentation, that everything is correct and working correctly so that it's a smooth presentation. It also helps to build confidence with the salesperson, particularly if they're a little bit newer and maybe not quite as experienced. Setting the sales objective, and then that obviously would be done with the sales management team, but determined what exactly it is that the salesperson is going to do and what their sales goals are. Always is to have a SMART criteria for your objectives on it, for the customer to define clearly what their requirements are, for the customer to be able to visit the production site. They may find that of interest to them, that the customer has an opportunity to try out the product, that they can compare the product against competing products in terms of the measurable performance criteria on it. Sales cycle, how often it is that you're going to be seeing the customer, how often that you need to go back to them. Like I said, making sure that you handle placing the order, that the order goes through correctly, that you see them in the proper amount of time, following up and making sure that they're satisfied, or handling any problems or complaints that they might have on it. So preparing yourself for any objectives, obviously, so it's important that you anticipate what might be questions so that you're not caught off guard that way on it. And like I said, the internet can be a wealth of information as far as getting information on the buying organization. You can find out a lot about them. Like I said, it's definitely helpful that you can collect as much information as you can about the company, the key influencer, and the decision maker. So it's going to help you to be much more successful that way on it. So anyway, those are some key responsibilities for the salesperson. Lots of different areas to be involved in, but definitely will be helpful to be successful. Taking a look at some of the product features and customer benefits, just some good tips. Basically, it's not necessarily what the feature is, but how it will benefit the customer. A retractable nib on a ballpoint pen is going to reduce the chances of any kind of damage. On up to a stream feeding photocopier, obviously is going to give you faster copying. An automatic washing machine is going to allow you to spend time on other less mundane activities. So that wraps up for Chapter 7, and we will move on to the chapters for next week. Thanks so much for listening.